Friends, I welcome you to my channel. Before listening to this story, I will ask you to like and subscribe. It is not difficult for you, but it is pleasant for me. And we're starting. Alexander McMillan, Alex, was so damn happy. He took his cell phone out of his pocket and called home to tell his wife that his 2-day meeting in San Francisco had been canceled, and he still wasn't leaving on his flight at 5:30 p.m. He was returning to the office to leave some documents and was supposed to be home in about 3 hours. In fact, the 2-day meeting was actually a job interview. He got wind of a vacancy for a division president at a national company that had moved one of its divisions to the Chicago area. Everything he knew about Chappell Electronics indicated that it would be fantastic to work for this company, and the regional division was located near his house, so the trip to work would not take longer than it does now. Chappell is a manufacturer of electronic devices, including video surveillance equipment, as well as other common electronic products. This position perfectly matched his skills, and he was highly recommended to the company by his own boss and friend, Michael Kraft. Michael had close friendships with several high-ranking people in Chappell, and he helped them get together. Although it was unpleasant for Michael to see Alex leave, he realized that he could not keep him, and gave him a brilliant recommendation. In fact, he was so highly respected that the only reason the interview was scheduled was to follow the necessary protocol at Chappell. The trip was canceled because they were going to meet him in Chicago at the headquarters of the division, and not at the corporate headquarters in San Francisco. The information from Michael said that they were going to offer him the position right away. This came as a bit of a surprise to Alex, but the company itself had been following him for several years, and out of respect for his boss, did not make him a direct offer. They haven't offered him anything yet, but it will be decided when he meets with them the next day. Chappell gave him a high salary and a package of benefits that made him dizzy. No matter where he ended up within that range, he knew that it would greatly improve their standard of living. If everything goes according to plan, Alex will start work in 3 weeks. When he arrived at the office, Michael was already waiting for him and congratulated him. He had a huge smile on his face, and he said to Alex, "If anyone deserves it, it's you. Congratulations." Apparently, Michael's friends called him to tell him that the job belongs to Alex. Alex said, "Come on, Michael, they haven't even offered it to me officially yet. Your congratulations will have to wait, but thanks anyway." Alex was genuinely touched by the support he received from Michael and told him that Chappell Electronics had informed him that whoever gets the position will have to start working in 3 weeks. Alex told Michael that if he was offered the job, he would take it. Michael said, "I knew this was going to happen, so to be honest, I've already chosen a replacement for you. This is Ann Colton, and she is quite qualified to replace you from tomorrow, as you well know, since you have taught her everything she knows." Alex smiled. Ann came to work for him 2 years ago, and as Michael stated, she was already fully capable of replacing him. She held this position a couple of times when he took long vacations. He was overjoyed about Michael's choice and very happy for Ann. She has earned a promotion and will do well. Spend this week bringing Ann up to date on all your open projects, and then spend the remaining 2 weeks on vacation. You're going to be very busy once you start working at Chappell. You'll regret your little job here. Also know that the benefits package is huge, Alex. They know what they're going to get from you, and they'll be willing to pay dearly to get you. Ask for everything you could hope for, because they will pay it. When he arrived at his home, he noticed that his wife's car was not in the garage. He remembered that she was probably still at work and would be coming home soon. Entering the kitchen, he dropped his bag on the floor and went to the fridge for a beer. He looked into the dining room and saw that his wife had 2 sets of the best porcelain and crystal on the table, as well as candles, napkins and coasters, and other romantic decorations. He smiled to himself, thinking that she was going to have a special dinner for him when he got home from his interviews. He was heading to their bedroom when he noticed the blinking light on their answering machine. They had 2 messages. The first message was the one he left. The second message made him jump when he heard it. "Hi baby, it's me, Larry. I just wanted to tell you that I plan to arrive on schedule around 6:30 p.m. I can't wait to touch your hot body. See you later, baby. Warm up for me." Alex couldn't believe what he was hearing. He recognized the voice. Larry! The message was from Larry Evandale, one of his wife Jody's ex-boyfriends. Larry dated Jody in high school, but Alex won her over and married her. Now he was some kind of big lawyer in Texas, and as far as Alex knew, he wasn't married. Until now, he had never had any reason to doubt Jody's love or loyalty. He said under his breath, "This cheating fool. How can she do this to me?" Then Alex remembered the dining table set for a romantic dinner, and the anger he felt turned into pure rage. When Jody's mother passed away, each of her 4 daughters took 2 sets of porcelain, crystal, silverware, and napkins with fancy silver napkins as a memento of her. Jody treasured these items and used them only for special occasions. He thought, well, from now on we'll see how special this case is. He went to his workshop and got a ball hammer. Returning to the dining room, he began to break all the china and crystal. He also hit the dining table and napkin holders with a hammer, bending and damaging them to the point that they probably couldn't be repaired. He tore the napkins in half and put them on the broken glassware. Then he took off his wedding ring, flattened it with a hammer, and put it on one of the torn napkins. Alex took out his cell phone and dialed his home number. Jody, this is Alex. Based on the message I just heard a couple minutes ago, I'm guessing you had a very special dinner planned for tonight with Larry. But as you noticed, I kind of ruined it for you. But what's that compared to how you ruined our marriage? I'll see you sometime. Goodbye. Having done that, Alex picked up his bag from the kitchen floor and went out to his car. He drove straight to O'Hare Airport and called to check for incoming flights from DFW in Texas. There were only a few flights, United 5412 and Delta 1253, that would take Larry to the city at the time when it was necessary to arrive at his home at 6:30 p.m. Alex called United Airlines and asked to speak with a customer service representative. He asked, "Is Larry Evandale on United Flight 5412 arriving from DFW?" Regardless of how the customer service representative responded, Alex assumed that he would know which flight Larry was on. If he had said, "No sir, Larry Evandale is not on this flight," he would have known that Larry was on Delta Flight 1253. If he had said, "Sir, I cannot disclose this information to you," he would have known that Larry was on a United flight. As it turned out, it was a Delta flight, and Alex was waiting at the gate when Larry got off the plane. He came up behind Larry and spoke quickly in a venomous voice. "Larry, don't even think about coming to my house tonight. If you do, I will hunt you down and kill you. Your smartest move would be to just get back on the plane to Texas. Yes, that would be your smartest move." When Alex approached him, Larry was shocked and speechless. He couldn't imagine how Alex knew he was coming at this time and couldn't think of anything to say. But when Alex left, he finally came to his senses and shouted, "But Alex, it's not what you think." However, it was too late, because Alex had disappeared into the crowd and hadn't heard a word of what he said. Larry had known Alex since high school and college too, and knew he was a tough asshole when he wanted to be one. Damn it, Larry told himself. If I stay here, I might get shot. He made a decision very quickly, took out his cell phone and called to cancel a business meeting he had scheduled for the next day, then went to the nearest service desk and booked the next flight back to Dallas. He was leaving in 2 hours, so Larry went to the bar and bought a much-needed drink, actually 3 or 4. By the time he boarded his flight back to Dallas, he was pretty well loaded, but happy to be alive. At about 5:30 p.m., Patricia Hunt Davenport, Trish, unlocked the door and entered the house and kitchen. She saw the blinking light on her answering machine and, fully expecting a message from Larry, pressed the play button. Instead of a message from Larry, it was a message that Alex had left on his answering machine shortly before he left. "Jody, this is Alex. Based on the message I just heard a couple minutes ago, I'm guessing you had a very special dinner planned for tonight with Larry. But as you noticed, I kind of ruined it for you. But what's that compared to how you ruined our marriage? I'll see you sometime. Goodbye." Trish was in shock. How did Alex get the message from Larry? He was supposed to fly by plane to San Francisco. She thought, "Oh my God, Alex thinks it's Jody who's dating Larry. Oh my God, it's terrible." Then she noticed the destruction in the dining room, and her panic increased. Trish called her home, and Jody Hunt McMillan, her sister, appeared on the line. "Oh my God, Jody, we have a terrible problem. Alex returned home and received a message from Larry. He broke the porcelain and crystal and destroyed the entire dining room and the festive table that you set up for me. Put the kids in the car and come here. Oh my God, Jody, I'm so sorry this happened." As it turned out, Trish Davenport was the married woman who wanted to experience a little romance with Larry Evandale. Her husband, Carl Davenport, was out of town on business, and Jody was going to look after her kids while Trish threw her little party with Larry. Trish knew that Carl worked long hours when he was out of town, and probably wouldn't call her until 8 o'clock at night or later, so she would have quite a few hours to be with Larry. Now that Alex knew what was going on, the whole plan went to hell. Jody arrived with the 6-month-old twins in their car seats about 10 minutes after she hung up the phone. They lived only a few blocks away from each other, so all she had to do was pack up the kids and come over. As soon as Jody walked through the door, Trish noticed the panic on her face. Jody rushed to her and exclaimed, "Oh my God, Trish, what am I going to do? How did it happen? Now Alex thinks I'm having an affair." "It's all my fault, Jody," Trish said. "I've been so depressed since the twins were born, and I just wanted to feel alive again. When Carl told me that he needed to leave town, I think something just broke and I lost touch with reality. I called to see if Larry could come. Well, you know the rest. Oh my God, Jody, I can't believe this is happening." The two young women listened to all 3 phone messages, the first from Alex, the second from Larry, which left no doubt about his intentions, and the last one from Alex again. When they listened to the message from Larry, they fully understood why Alex had destroyed everything and left the message he had made. No names were mentioned, and he certainly left no doubt that he intended to make love to the woman he was calling. However, the first thing they had to do was get to Alex and convince him that Jody wasn't having an affair. The two were confident that they could sort it out with Alex and beg him to give Trish a chance to repair the damage she had done to her own marriage. Alex checked into the Hyatt Hotel in Oak Brook. He needed time to think things over, and he knew he couldn't go home. The Hyatt Hotel had a nice restaurant and lounge, so even though he wasn't hungry, he ate a light dinner and went to the lounge for a drink. After the second drink, he realized that it would be wiser to take the bottle to his room. He asked the bartender if he could order a bottle of scotch to his room, and was assured that it could be done. Alex settled into his room and sat on the sofa with a glass of whiskey in his hand. He knew that he had missed several incoming calls to his voicemail, so he pulled out his cell phone and saw that he had 3 messages. The first was from Trish, his sister-in-law, and Jody's sister. "Alex, I just came to your house, saw the mess in the dining room and listened to the messages on your answering machine. Oh my God, Alex, you made a mistake and I just don't know what to do. I was supposed to meet Larry at your house, not Jody. She was at my house and took care of the twins. Oh my God, Alex, this is a mistake. Alex, call me or call Jody and we'll explain everything to you. Jody didn't cheat on you, it was me. Please call me back." The second message was from Jody, which said about the same thing. "Alex, darling, there's been a terrible misunderstanding, baby. I'm so sorry that you thought I was cheating on you. It must have been terrible for you, but baby, it was set up at our house, and Trish was going to meet Larry there while I babysit the twins. Please call me or come home so we can talk. You'll see how much I love you and how terrible I feel about being hurt like that." The third one was also from Jody. "Alex McMillan, this was a terrible mistake and misunderstanding. Come home so we can fix this before you do something stupid. You know that I love you." Alex pulled out his mobile phone, selected his wife's number from his contact list, and sent her a text message. "I have received messages from you and your sister, and I understand what you are talking about, but I'll still need a couple of days to think about it. I'll call you tomorrow night." He was still upset, but he actually felt better about the situation. What he didn't understand was why they had arranged this in his house. The twins were only 6 years old. Even though he understood what they were talking about in the messages, he was going to check something on his own. After a few seconds, his mobile phone beeped, letting him know that he had a text message. It was from Jody. "Alex, I want you to come home. Please don't stay away from me, baby. I need you here, please." Alex immediately sent her a reply message. "No, Jody, I need to figure this out. I'll call you tomorrow night." He turned off his cell phone and drank a couple more drinks before finally flopping onto the bed and falling asleep. The next thing he knew, the light was streaming through his windows right into his face. Reluctantly, he got up and closed the curtains to block out the light. It was killing him, and he was in enough pain as it was. Alex looked at the clock on the nightstand and saw that it was 8:30 in the morning. He wasn't really in a very good mood, but he had to grin when he thought how bad it would be if he had an interview in the morning instead of at 2 p.m. He knew he still had a busy schedule, so he called home to find out if Jody had gone to work or not. She didn't answer the phone, so he was sure she had gone to work. Alex left the hotel room and took the elevator down to the garage. He got into his car and drove to an electronics store where he bought a few things and then drove home. He thought as he drove, "Well, I'll take this opportunity to check out a few products from Chappelle Electronics." When he arrived at his house, he felt relieved that no one was there, so he packed some clothes and personal belongings for the next couple of days and put them in his car. He took the time to install bugs in the phones in the kitchen and in the bedroom, as well as cameras in each of the rooms. He placed the receiver/recorder/transmitter in the basement workshop. Jody will never notice him there, and he will be able to access any data from his laptop or mobile phone. After everything was in place and he was sure that everything would work perfectly, he took a shower and dressed for the interview. He managed to arrive at Chappelle Electronics about 10 minutes early and wait for the interview. As he expected, the interview went very well and he was offered the position. The salary and social package they presented was incredible. They pretty much gave him the right to determine his own salary. Who does that? Alex realized that they really wanted him so much. He said, "I accept this position depending on the final agreement on the benefits package between us. The benefits are great and I don't see the need for any changes, but the salary needs to be adjusted." Joe Sanford, his new boss, looked surprised and replied, "Alex, the salary we are offering is almost twice the salary you are receiving now. What else needs to be adjusted?" Alex laughed softly, and Joe's face started to turn a little red when he got angry. Alex calmed him down by saying, "Joe, I'll take less. Give me a $50,000 raise over my previous salary, and let's develop a performance-based incentive program that will give me the opportunity to earn more than you're offering if I do my job. In addition to the incentive program, I would like to receive a certain bonus if all the goals are achieved. Do you think this is acceptable?" Joe smiled and said, "Michael was right. You are absolutely the one we need in this position. You have a deal, Alex. Together we will assess where we are now and where we would like to be, and I am sure that the incentive and bonus programs will be approved by the board of directors. We'll clarify the numbers later if you don't mind." After the interview and subsequent meetings, Alex and Joe went to dinner at Morton's Steakhouse, after which Alex returned to his hotel to think again about his home situation. He was very tired, so he decided to wait until the morning to follow up on the surveillance he had set up before the interview. When the sun hit his face in the morning, Alex got up and prepared for a new day. He ordered breakfast to be delivered to his room and began reviewing the surveillance data accumulated over the past 24 hours. He listened to a couple of phone calls that had nothing to do with the situation, and then there was a call from Jody to Larry Evendale. "Larry, I know that everything went wrong and I'm sorry about it. Alex was supposed to take a flight to San Francisco, but unfortunately, this trip was canceled." Larry replied, "But the only flight he was on was in front of my nose when I got off the plane. I know what Alex threw in your face, but what would you expect from him in this situation?" "Well, baby, no piece of ass is worth getting killed over, but I was really looking forward to using both of you." "Larry, we're going to have to forget about all this for a while. I know that after Trish goes home, you and I were going to spend the night together, but I have to convince Alex that you only dated Trish and not me either." "Okay, but I'll call you the next time I plan to come to Chicago and see if we can meet then. Just be careful that Alex doesn't find out about it next time." "Yes, call me next time, and Larry, I was disappointed too. I've been looking forward to being with you again, and we'll just see what we can do in the future." Well, this conversation made steam come out of Alex's ears. "This fool cheated on me and will cheat on me again. I knew there was something fishy about the meeting at our house with Trish and Larry," he said aloud. He took a short break and poured himself a glass of whiskey. The next call he listened to was Jody Trish's call. "Trish, get the kids in the car and come over. We have to sit down and figure out how to deal with this so that none of us gets hurt. Come now and please hurry up." There were a few unrelated calls, and then early in the morning, Jody called work asking to take the day off. Alex switched to broadcasting from cameras and audio in the house. He noticed her cleaning up the mess he had made in the dining room, and it was obvious that Jody was upset about the destruction of her mother's family heirlooms. There was no way to repair the porcelain or crystal. He broke everything into small pieces, and there was not a single piece larger than an inch. The silver was bent and beyond repair, and the napkins were torn in two. There was nothing to be done about it. He could see Jody sobbing as she threw the debris into the trash. He saw her pick up his flattened wedding ring, and her sobs intensified. She didn't throw it in the trash, but instead held it in her hands like a precious relic. Then she gently pressed it to her heart, and then slowly put it in her pocket. He heard her moan, "Oh, what have I done? I have to convince him that it was just Trish. I wouldn't be able to live without him. What was I thinking when I told Larry that I would see him at another time?" When she finished cleaning the dining room, Jody went into the living room, sat in his chair, and cried. He watched her for a while, and then Trish appeared. Jody said, "Trish, we have to convince Alex that you were the only one having an affair with Larry. If he thinks it's me, my marriage will be over. He'll divorce me in the blink of an eye if he thinks it's me. Then you'll be in trouble too, because Carl will get suspicious if we get divorced." "You're right, Jody," Trish said. "But then how do I save my marriage? If Carl gets suspicious, he can run a DNA test on the twins and then I'll totally screw up. He finds out that the twins are not his and my marriage will break up. What are we going to do?" "Like I said," Jody replied, "we have to convince him that it was you, and then beg him not to tell Carl. You need to play on his gentle nature so that he does not destroy your marriage. Beg him and promise that you will never make that mistake again." "Oh shit, Jody. I'm never going to make that mistake again. It scares the hell out of me and I really love Carl. Whatever it takes, we will do it. Convince Alex and beg him not to hand me over to Carl." They both sat in silence for a while, thinking, and Alex just watched them until Jody started again. "Damn it. Why did we all have to be like Mom? She cheated on Dad, and now you and I have cheated on our husbands too, and Kay and Bobby have cheated on their husbands the same way for years. I think the next time we get together, we should make a pact never to cheat again, even though Mom never stopped until she died." Trish asked, "How many times have you cheated on Alex?" "I've only cheated on Carl twice, both times with Larry. It would be the third time. The second time I cheated, I got pregnant with twins, and that was my last time. I will never cheat on Carl again." Alex was particularly interested in Jody's answer. "Well, I think I cheated a few times too, twice with Larry and a few times with the guys who picked me up at the bar. When Alex was traveling, I hated staying at home alone, so I'd go out and let some guys buy me drinks and flirt a little. I probably overdid it a few times, and the next thing I remember, I was lying on my back with my legs spread. I can't say I regret it, but there were no intentions at that time. I just didn't want to be alone." Trish laughed. "No intentions? Jody, this is priceless. Do you go to a bar, flirt, and let guys buy you drinks, and then tell them you were never going to let them use you? You really made me laugh." Jody smiled. "Okay, you're right, but they weren't as good as Larry. I just let it happen on the spur of the moment. But Larry and I had agreed on this in advance." Alex listened and watched their conversation until Trish picked up the twins and went home. There was nothing except that they were discussing again how they were going to convince him that Trish was guilty, but not Jody, whereas they were going to beg him to give Trish another chance. Finally, Trish left and Jody went to bed. Alex watched Jody getting ready for bed, and as she lay there, he heard her talking through her crying again. "I have to fix this, I just can't lose him." Alex turned it all off. He saw that more phone calls were recorded and more videos to watch, but his heart couldn't take it anymore. He heard and saw everything he needed to see. His anger was at such a level that he wondered if he would explode. His only thoughts at the moment were how he would strangle this fool if she were here right now. It was completely out of character for him. Alex took a bottle of scotch and took a long sip, and then poured the rest down the drain. He lay on the bed, thinking, and soon fell into a deep sleep. He didn't know how long he had been asleep, but he regained consciousness when he heard someone opening the door of his room. The maid caught her breath when she realized that he was still in the room. She said, "I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't know you were here and there was no security chain on the door. I'll come back to clean your room later. Will you tell me when I can come back?" "What is it?" she asked. "What time is it now?" Alex asked. "It's 11 o'clock in the morning," she replied. "Okay, miss, I'll be out of here in an hour." The pressure in his head eased, and the throbbing in his chest was almost completely gone. Alex decided that he could handle the situation now, so he picked up his phone and called Jody's office. He wanted to leave a trail that would not betray the fact that he already knew. Of course, he was told that Jody was not there, so he said he would call her on her cell phone. When she answered, he asked, "Jody, where are you? I tried to call you at work, but they told me you didn't show up today. Are you making love to some guy behind my back?" Jody's anger increased, but she knew she had better be calm. She told him, "Alex, I'm not going to make love to some guy, as you so eloquently put it. Trish and I both told you that it was her, not me, who planned to meet Larry. I'm at home. I'm too upset to go to work, so I took the day off. Please come home, Alex, so we can clear this up. I'm going home right now. Call Trish and tell her to come over." "Get her cheating ass closer to your cheating ass," he thought to himself. When Alex walked through the door, they both rushed to him, talking at the same time. Jody tried to hug and kiss him, but he pushed her away. He let them go on for a while, all the while thinking about what he was going to do and what he was going to say. Finally, he raised his hand to stop them talking anymore. He wasn't going to reveal exactly what he knew or what the source of his information was, but he was going to let them know that he knew more than they thought. Alex said, "I want you both to stop all this nonsense. Just so you know, I'm not buying any of this. For starters, Trish, I believe you're having an affair with Larry. You were the first one at the crime scene, and I believe Jody was covering for you and babysitting your kids. But I also believe that after you left, my loving wife was going to use Larry too. Why do I believe that? Because when I ran into Larry, he didn't tell me that I was wrong. He didn't tell me that it was Trish and not Jody. Larry expected to use both of you, didn't he? He could see from their expressions that he was right, and of course he already knew that. He continued, Jody, when your mother died, your father came to me and told me everything she was doing and warned me about you. He said that you and your sisters are still cheating like your mother and warned me to keep a close eye on you. I didn't think much of it at the time, but as it turned out, he was right. I wish he was here so I could tell him how right he was, but unfortunately he's already dead. It's probably a good thing that he doesn't see what a mess you've made of your life. When he mentioned their mother and father, the two ladies became more and more upset. Tears were streaming down their cheeks, and they were both breathing deeply and fast. Alex knew they were his now. Okay, Jody, this is your only chance. But just one time, one slip, one lie, and it's all over, okay? Yes, Alex, I understand. The whole truth and nothing but the truth, he said. How many times have you made love to Larry Evendale? Alex, please don't make me answer that question. I love you, and I really want to save our marriage. I want you to keep loving me, please, Alex. I'll tell you if you insist, but please don't force me, please. Tell me. She lowered her head and said, Twice. He asked, How many other men have you made love to since we got married? She jerked her head up, her eyes wide and scared. Oh my God, Alex, please don't make me answer. You're going to hate me. You are welcome. She saw the anger on his face as he spat out. Tell me or I'll leave, she whispered. Several, I don't know for sure. What? Stop it, he shouted. I can't hear you. I said a few, and that I don't know exactly how many there are. Please, Alex, don't leave me, please. I've been completely honest here and now, please, she pleaded. You're both a couple of cheaters, Alex said, now completely in control of himself. So here's what's going to happen. Jody, you ignored our wedding vows and ruined our marriage. Starting right now, I'm going to start making love to whoever I want, wherever I want, and as often as I want. Trish, you're a cheater who cheats on her husband. Well, from now on, you're my cheater. I've never really liked Carl anyway, so I don't mind cuckolding him. If you don't like this idea, I think I'll just have to tell him what you've been doing. She screamed. There's no way I'm going to be a cheater for you, Alex. That's not going to happen. Oh, do you think so? By the way, after I saw Larry, I was struck by how much your twins look like him. Do you know those little flat spots on their ears? So maybe I'll have to give Carl a hint to check it out. I'm sure DNA will give you a result that you won't like. So no is still your answer? Alex could tell by Trish's face that he had her in his arms. Now get your ass on my bed and take off everything except your panties. I'll be there in a minute. Get your ass in order right now, or things won't turn out so well for you. She looked scared as hell with wide eyes and a trembling chin, but she obediently nodded her head in agreement and, with a pleading look at Jody, left the room and headed towards the bedroom. Jody was stunned by the way things were going and said, Alex, how can you do this to us? How can you do this to Trish? I know I was wrong, but it's going to be hard for us to get through this. Jody, I don't give a shit right now whether we get through this or not. If you don't like it, just leave. I don't care. How long are you going to do this, Alex? When will you get tired of settling scores with me? When can we start trying to save our marriage? Do you want to know the truth? I do not know how long I will use other women. I think I'll probably keep using other women until I feel like strangling you every time I see you. I may never stop making love to other women. Since you canceled our marriage vows, I don't see any reason to keep them either. I'll tell you what, if you ever make love to another man, our marriage will end right at that very moment. There will be no delay. Do you understand? Jody nodded and whispered, Yes. Alex confirmed her agreement with a nod and said, And now if you'll excuse me, I need to use a woman right now, by the way. You seem to know her. Trish looked confused but pleased. You're a beautiful woman, Trish. I also imagined what it would be like to make love to you. But being married to Jody, I never acted on those feelings, but believe me, I had them. Now, though, there's no reason why I shouldn't tell you about all the things I imagined doing to you. There's no reason why you and I can't just fucking enjoy making love. And trust me, I plan to keep using your brains from time to time. Alex took advantage of this moment to gently pull Trish to him. Oh, that was so sweet of him, and everything indicated that Trish was enjoying the attention she was getting. Get out of this, baby, he said. Trish looked at him with full lust in her eyes, and he felt the excitement caused by his statement. He continued, I would never do anything to get you caught with me. Do you understand? Trish smiled at him and said, Alex, you turn me on so much. Yes, I understand, and I will do as you ask. He took off his shirt, threw it on a chair against the wall, and then said to Trish, Taking off my pants is your job. This is your one and only chance to stop all this. You don't have to take them off, get dressed now and leave, and we'll never do it again. Trish sat up and reached for his belt buckle. When they had completely satisfied each other, Alex told Trish, I want you to come here every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon. Hire a babysitter and plan to spend the afternoon with me. If you need money for a babysitter, I'll give it to you. But I need you for the whole day. Besides, trust me, I will often look for opportunities to make love quickly. So don't forget, I insist that you never wear panties in my presence. I can do it, Alex, and I don't need help with the money for the babysitter. And I welcome these quick games anytime you want. With that, Trish dressed and left the bedroom, walked down the hall to the kitchen where Jody was sitting at the table with a pained expression on her face and tears streaming down her cheeks. I'm sorry, Jody, but honestly, I'm not going to give up on this. I belong to him in order to take me whenever he wants. You're a fool to risk your marriage, this wonderful man, for any affairs you might have had. Larry for sure can't compare to Alex, and I don't know about the others, but I doubt they can either. I love Carl and I don't want to leave him, but sometimes he's a bit of a jerk and not so good in bed. But damn it, Alex is gold on the edge of the rainbow and you ruined everything. If I were you, I would do everything in my power to keep him. When Trish left the house, Jody just sat and cried until Alex came into the room. Then she just got up, rushed into the bedroom and slammed the door. Alex didn't see her for the rest of the day and ended up sleeping in their spare bedroom. Over the next month, Alex met with Trish every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, and on Monday evening and Wednesday evening, he dated various women he knew, both from his old job and from the social contacts he had made. Ann Colton had always shown interest in him, but of course he had never allowed himself to give her proper attention before. But now the gates were wide open, so now he and Ann knew each other on a completely different level. From time to time, he even picked up a complete stranger in a bar and used her until she passed out in a hotel room. Alex came home tired as hell on nights like this. Day after day, he saw how it affected Jody, and it was excruciatingly bad for her. He could see how much she was in pain, but he didn't really care. He spent weekends with Jody, and they did talk and do things together, but not once in the whole month did he make love to his wife. She asked a couple of times, but he just shook his head. He wasn't ready to do it yet. It had been a little over a month since he discovered that his wife had cheated, and he decided to bring it all to an end. So that night on Friday, he stopped at a local watering hole before heading home. He knew that a woman he knew named Carolyn would be there, and invited her to visit him. She was in her car and followed his car to his house. When Alex walked in the door, the house was empty, so he took her to his bedroom and started using her, not caring if Jody could see or hear him. Carolyn said, I understand that you and your wife have an open marriage, Alex, but I saw that she was not very happy. We don't really have an open marriage, Carolyn, but I don't want to explain all this to you right now. But someday I'll do it, don't worry. I really enjoyed being with you. He kissed her gently and said goodbye. When he returned to the house, Jody attacked him, pounding on his chest and shouting at him, I hate you. Alex replied coldly, Okay, now you finally know how I feel. Now you know how I felt when I found out how carelessly you fulfilled our wedding vows. Now you know what it feels like when someone you love does to you what you did to me. I promise you, Jody, that I will never have another woman in this house. I will also never make love to Trish here again. This is my solemn promise to you. Jody softened, and her anger seemed to subside. In fact, there was a hint of a smile on her face, and she asked, Will you start making love to me, Alex? Alex went to the kitchen table and took out a folder. No, he said. I don't plan on ever making love to you again. Here are the divorce papers that I instructed my lawyer to prepare the day after I discovered that you were a cheating fool. I'm leaving now, and I'll be back on Monday to pick up all my stuff. Have your lawyer call my lawyer. Goodbye, Jody. Now tell me, was it worth it? He threw the papers on the table and walked out the door. Jody collapsed into a chair in complete shock and sobbed,